Hello, this is a short reflection for the third Sunday of Easter, Sunday the 26th of April, particularly on the Gospel reading, Luke chapter 24 verses 13 to 35, the story of the Emmaus Road. If you haven't read it, please do. In it, two disciples unknowingly meet the risen Jesus on their journey from Jerusalem to the village of Emmaus. They have their minds opened and their hearts burning with his truth, and then only finally recognise him at the end of the journey when he breaks bread in their home. The Emmaus story is one of the most beautifully told of all the Easter stories. It's also perhaps one that speaks most directly to our situation now. Like Cleopas and the other unnamed disciple in the story, we too have a deep sense of loss and fear, just plain bewilderment too at the events of recent weeks as they've unfolded. We too find ourselves at the mercy of decisions that have been made beyond our power and control. We too have questions that can't be answered. We too aren't quite sure who or what to believe. We too have a sense of being haunted by the danger of disease and death. But the risen Christ can come alongside us too. Just as the first thing that the risen Jesus said to Mary Magdalene in the garden was a question, "Why are you weeping?" So it is in this story. "What are you talking about?" he asked the two. Often what we talk about is ordinary and day-to-day, mundane, trivial. But not unlike the Emmaus story, as we continue in our rather more static journey through this pandemic, perhaps we can allow the risen Christ to shape our conversations, to open our hearts to his truth found in the scriptures, and make our hearts burn with the desire to share that truth and love of his risen life. The hope-filled promise that God offers to us, and not just to us, but to the whole world. In our homes, as with the home of the two disciples who invited this extraordinarily insightful stranger in to share a simple evening meal with them, Christ can still take, bless, break, and share. And not just in a literal sense, though of course he can be present at every one of our meals, but whenever and wherever we share with others, out on our walks, in our streets or in the nearby fields, over our garden fences or online, or in the silent shared communion of prayer, Christ can still be present, still be the unseen host. Even in our current confinement, different kinds of bread, different kinds of nourishment can be shared. Conversation, listening and understanding, practical help, including obviously getting shopping for people, prayer and concern. We too can ask our crucified and risen Lord to abide with us, to stay with us, just as the two disciples did. We too can have our minds opened and our hearts set on fire with the overwhelming love, painful hope and disturbing peace that first burned into life nearly 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, a fire that has not and will never go out, a fire that still enlightens and warms our sad, cold, isolated and isolating world. May that Easter fire continue to warm us all, making our hearts burn within us. Some prayer to finish. Lord Jesus, abide with us throughout each day. Abide with us in all our journeys. Abide with us in all our longings. Help us to abide and rest in you, to seek to hear your voice and know that you are our crucified and risen Lord, offering us new life each day. Help us to know you in moments of breaking, in the break of day, in the breaking of bread, even in the breaking of hearts. Help us to know that you are risen indeed, and that even though we cannot receive you in bread and wine now, you are always with us, right to the end. Lord, abide with us, so we may abide with you. Amen.